Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily like to go so much by feeling or by look. I do like to look at the data because it does give us a more
Yep.
clear picture.
Yep.
When we've got emotions and, you know, all these things tied to a result, and this is why I always tell clients you don't want to just go by the scale because you're going
Right.
to be able to see things with the scale. You want to do measurements, you want to do photos, you want to do all these things because you could see that the scale doesn't move, but you do your measurements and you see, okay, you lose an inch on your waist, you lose half an inch around your stomach, you lose an inch there. So the measurements are going to show you specifically where your body's changing. Your clothes are going to show you, okay, even though the scale might not have moved, I can see that my pants fit better or my shirts fit looser. So then we take all of that information and we say, okay, we know something's moving, but then we can look and say, okay, what's moving? Because as I like to tell my clients, not all weight loss is good weight loss. But at the same time, not all weight gain is bad weight gain. If I put on 3 pounds, but 2.5 of that is muscle, then I know that that is a good weight gain. Even though the scale
Hmm.
goes up, I know that that's a good. Whereas if I lose 3 pounds, but my body fat goes up, okay, I lost 3 pounds, my body fat goes up. That oftentimes indicates that I'm either losing muscle or I'm losing water, which is not what we're going for. So we
Right.
look
Right.
at all the data and we say, okay, we know that you had a week where there wasn't a lot of physical activity outside of what would be considered normal, your normal daily activities, your normal job. There wasn't a lot of exercise the way you would have liked it to been. So we know that although your eating might not have been that bad, and we don't know specifically because there was a lot of guessing and not any tracking, but we can say that if your weight has gone up, then we know that there wasn't the deficit wasn't created to cause weight loss. And I think when we look at a deficit, oftentimes people go towards eating. We create the deficit through eating. However, if if 2 weeks your eating is the same, but one week you've got all this physical activity going on, and then the next week it's pretty much nothing, then although the eating was pretty much the same, the physical activity was different. So that could create a lack of a deficit, whereas one week you may
Yep.
notice that your weight goes down, with the week where you had the extra physical activity, and the other week your weight goes up, even though the calories that were consumed were relatively the same. So we look at all of those things and we say, all right, we know, when we look and we say, okay, what do we need to do differently this week? What do we need to focus on doing more of? What do we need to focus on doing less of? What do we need to change? When I look and I say, all right, the main two things we want to focus on is, again, creating these habits. We look and we say, okay, thing number one is to make sure that we're accounting accurately for what's going in our mouths because every calorie will count. And again, I don't the less we can guess, the more accurate we can be, the better results you're going to get because then you can pinpoint, okay, this is what I did, this was the result, this is what we need to change. We need to do more of this, do less of this, do this differently. So that would be like the first thing I would say. Your goal
Yep.
this week is to really track everything you eat. And the second thing I would say, of course, we need to get every single workout done and I would say, look, I would go above and beyond and say not just getting every workout done, but then let's find ways where we can get in even more physical activity than what you have on your calendar. So those would be the two things I would say. What do you think about that?
No, I agree with you.